Hey everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing the 10 Commandments of Booktube, and I am ridiculously excited to share. This video idea originally came from Steve Donahue, who stole it from someone else. I will leave all of the information linked down below, and I'm so excited to get into it. So if you're new to my channel, then hi. Welcome. My name is Shelly and I love booktube. I love reading. I love talking to readers. I love it all with like an intense passion. And yeah, if you're not subscribed and you're liking the vibe, I would encourage you to subscribe, stick around. Without any further rambling on, let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. For some of you who may or may not know, Steve Donahue, though I can't imagine anyone not knowing who Steve Donahue is. Steve Donahue is a book critic. He writes written reviews, contributes to a lot to the written world out there, and he also has a YouTube channel. And I was so inspired when he did his 10 Commandments of Booktube that I wanted to do my own. And there are some overlap, but I do have some different takes on some of his commandments. So I'm going to go through his commandments first and then go through mine and talk a bit about it. So his 1 through 10, right? He said, "Thou shalt not slurp." He doesn't want to see you drinking coffee. I could care less. I mean, I don't know. I guess if it was like particularly annoying or loud or I really don't care. Sorry, Steve. This one I'm just like, but maybe he was doing it just to give rise to the booktuber that he was responding to. He also said, "Thou shalt prepare," and he meant like audio, visual, notes, just to feel kind of like you're not just coming on camera and blathering on, you know, like where there's these long pauses or like you get up and literally leave the frame for a couple of minutes. He also talked about the ominous open black door, like the doorway that's open and it's just dark back there, or having, you know, something in the frame that is just an eyesore or awkward. So that's what he meant by "thou shalt prepare." Thou shalt not lie. He was saying, if you haven't read a book, don't comment on it. Thou shalt connect. What he meant by that was to be social, to comment, to talk about other channels. So thou shalt connect in like a social way. Thou shalt not network, which I thought was a really interesting point, and I think it definitely gets on his nerves, kind of like the slurping, more than my nerves. But if somebody is new to booktube and they're out there, like, I don't know, it hasn't happened a lot to my space, my actual channel. But occasionally someone will start a booktube channel and they literally comment on everybody's video in the span of like 24 hours. And all of a sudden they're very, very, very present. And it is very much in this way where they want to drive traffic to their channel. And it is like, you can see it a mile away. Now I also understand there's a difference between that, like, you know, saying like, going out there and wanting an exchange of channels and comments. There's a difference between that and someone just being really excited about booktube and commenting very organically and authentically, but maybe a lot on everybody's channels. But there is a very specific like network like feeling when somebody is out there just trying to drive viewership to their own channel. There's like a very distinct feeling. And he was talking about that, like this very particular kind of, I don't know, grandiose networking that someone is trying to grow their channel. It's a very odd thing. So he said, "Thou shalt not network." And he also said, "Thou shalt try." And what he meant is that, you know, like I am talking to you now, there is this sense of being ready to talk in a very stream of consciousness, or sometimes prepped, you know, but there's this feeling that you are talking to an audience. You're not just talking to somebody one-on-one where there is maybe some pause, like some long pauses in between the conversation. Like it is you presenting in a weird, like it's somewhere in between presenting and talking to an old friend. But you are the only one talking. And you have to be aware of that. Yeah, so he said, thou shalt try. There's like a sense that you're doing this thing. I don't know how I think he even, did he struggle to explain it, or maybe it's just me? There is this sense that you are talking to an audience. And just like you wouldn't just maybe for karaoke, but like you wouldn't just randomly go in front of a church and sing something that you have not prepared. Maybe, you at least want this sense that you've gotten it together. Like you are together and you are in front of a camera. Okay, I'm going to try not to ramble on. He also said, thou shalt not work. And he talked about it in the sense of like, if you have already filmed four videos that day and you're on your 5th video, and the way that you're showing up is like, hey guys, I'm so tired. I have a ton of editing to do after this. And oh my goodness, I just don't want to be here. Like, don't turn this into a work thing. It's supposed to be fun. And yeah, it's supposed to be fun. And so don't make it work, And then number 8 is thou shalt be nice, self-explanatory. Thou shalt not spend. This was more of a reaction from him, from what I gathered, to people who have talked about how being on BookTube makes you want to buy. The consumerism of BookTube. And not, maybe it doesn't affect everyone, but there have been an influx of videos of people talking about their spending habits and how BookTube makes you want to spend. So he was saying you don't have to. You don't have to spend. That is not a requirement. And then number 10 is thou shalt join. And he meant participate. And you don't have to have a channel for that. So I have my own 10. Let me get to the actual, I have thought about this for days. Since I saw it a couple of days ago, 48 hours. I have been thinking about this for 2 days, and I've really enjoyed being in the space of thinking about my own 10 commandments. And here is what I came up with. So as Steve mentioned, he said, thou shalt join. And he made that number 10. And I was like, and he even said it should have been number 1. And so I'm going to do that justice and put that at number 1. Thou shalt join. And what I mean by that is there are tons and tons and tons of events and read-alongs and book clubs and all of the stuff. And when I was an early watcher of both BookTube and just YouTube in general for 10 years, I never commented. I was a silent watcher. And I just I didn't really join. I joined with my watching, and I really enjoyed my, participation in that way. But what we mean by join is that join a book club. Steve has a book club. I think they're reading The Cruel Sea, or he just read The Cruel Sea, and he's talking about reading Dune in June. Join. Get Dune if that calls to you, Dune by Frank Herbert, and read along with him. There's also so many events. I'm actually running a historical fiction reading event in June. All you have to do is read one book to participate. And it's so, so, so fun. And join the things that call to you. Don't overdo it. That can really kind of kill things for you if you overload yourself. But join. It's so, so, so fun. And it doesn't mean, I don't mean comment. I have another thing for that. I don't mean you have to start a channel. I mean, as a viewer, if you are like, man, Jane Austen July sounds like so much fun. I'm going to pick up a Jane Austen book and I'm going to watch a retelling. I'm going to watch a Jane Austen inspired film. And that's how you join, then do it. You will not regret it. It's so much fun. And it doesn't mean that if you're not having fun halfway through, then unjoin, leave and try something else. It's just a lot of fun. So thou shalt join. I better move it along so that this video isn't 45 minutes long. Okay, then I said thou shalt connect. And like Steve, there is a joy in connecting, just saying, hey, I have a couple people who leave emojis in my comments just to like show me that they've been here and watched the video. And actually, if you want to just say, hey, I love hearing from you. So even if it's just a quick, hey, how's it going? Or even just an emoji, like a heart emoji. I love that. I love when people are just like, hey, I was here, even if it's in the form of an emoji. And I try and actually give myself the same grace that I give other people. So I try, even though I fail all the time, I watch more than I comment on, but I try and I'm just like, Shelly, just leave a comment, like leave a quick comment, leave a quick heart emoji so that other people know that I've been here. It's so much fun. But also like this and connecting, like I'm responding to Steve Donahue's video. And that's a way of connecting to his content, to him in general. It's just a joy. I've done connections through email. People email me and I like to email back. Email is like the worst, the absolute worst way to contact me. Voxer messages, I've comments, fields, I reply still to every single comment I get, with either a heart or an actual comment back, which surprises me that I can still do that, but I love that I can, and it is a priority to me. But connecting is so wonderful. And if you are thinking, oh, I think this goes back to join, but in the two, if you're thinking about a channel, if it has gotten in and amongst you, and you're like, actually, one way you should start a channel is if you're starting to think about how you would answer tag videos, how you would make a video about your top 5 books of this year or of all time, the worst books of all time, according to you. If you are all of a sudden like you're planning videos in your mind, that is a sign that you should join. And a lot of these things, so many of these things you can work out as you go along. Steve had the same sentiment. So it's like you just start and like eventually things are gonna go. Like things are gonna have its own momentum. And you may find out that it's not for you, but you won't know until you join. And connection is part of that. So those two, first and second commandments. Thou shalt be nice is my third commandment. And this is something that Steve said, and the person that did the video first. I'm so sorry, I don't remember your channel name, but I did watch that video as well. But be nice. Like it's it's not that hard unless it's really against your personality. But even then, I think everyone has some niceness in them. Now I am generally naturally a nice person, so it doesn't take a lot for me, but I enjoy being nice. So some people it might be a little more of a routine that you need to get into, but that's okay. But being nice goes a long way. Okay, so commandment number 4, thou shalt prepare. Like Steve, you want to be able to, everyone wants to be able to hear you, and to take that feedback. If you can't be heard and maybe your mic is constantly like at a kerfuffle, like, it's always doing that thing. You didn't get that? Let me do that again. Like if your mic or your video is we can't see you, that is an issue. So it doesn't take too much to just make sure that you're seen and heard. And guess what? If you make a mistake on your first 5 videos, you can change. Like you can change to how you're sitting, to where you're sitting, maybe put a lamp in front of you so we can see your beautiful face. But I also mean be prepared in that you should have an idea of what you're going to talk about. And I've also gotten some feedback from people very recently that if you're going to show a book, show it for a length of time that people can see the title and the author. Or if you don't have those skills, like you have to edit in the books because you mostly read on your Kindle or you're listening to a lot of books and you don't have the physical book to hold up. I would say another way to prepare that is so helpful is listing the books in order in the description box. If you can't have the book up all the time. I thought that was such a great piece of feedback. But being prepared, like having a an idea of what you're going to talk about is incredibly, incredibly useful. Okay, let's think. So maybe I'll go to my first thou shalt not. Actually, I'm not going to go to a thou shalt not quite yet. So I'm going to say thou shalt steal. I'm stealing this idea from Steve Donahue, who stole it from someone else. Stealing is a big, well, really big borrowing and stealing, really, is a huge component of the online space. If I like a video that someone did, I do my own version of it. That is just what you do. And now it must be like an organic thing. It must be something that speaks to you, and we'll get to a thou shalt not that has to do with this. But yeah, like thou shalt like steal. If you like a tag, do your own version of it. If you saw someone's like top 5 historical fiction books of all time and you have your own and you want to do a version of it, please go ahead and do it. If you are like, I really love this type of video, but I don't want anybody to think I'm taking their idea. No, take the idea. You know, there's a little bit of like credit the person who, you know, gave you the idea. That's always a really lovely component of it, and also connecting, which connects to my commandment from earlier. But yeah, steal. It is a huge part of BookTube. Really borrowing, thou shalt borrow, but I liked stealing because it connects to the actual Old Testament commandments. So, but also along with that, thou shalt experiment. If you're just somebody who's like, I can't do that because it doesn't align with my content, yeah, no, don't be that person. Just be willing to experiment. If you're like, I really want to film outside, but I've never filmed outside before, film outside. Please do it. It's so much fun to experiment and see what happens and see where that leads you. That is so much of a part of channels, everyone's channels. Now, if you're really comfortable staying in your routine of videos because that's what works for you, then that's awesome. But it's also a really, 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 really good thing to try something new every once in a while, to switch out your equipment, to maybe bring an idea to BookTube that you have never seen before, to steal an idea that is a little outside your comfort zone and you want to see how you interpret that type of video. Please experiment. Don't just put yourself in a corner and stay in that corner. Be willing to explore and experiment. I know for me, that's one of the things that keeps me alive in this space, is trying something new. And then I'm also going to say my next one is thou shalt not worship the algorithm. Thou shalt not worship the algorithm. Booktubers, I think there is this sense that if you do X kind of video, you're going to get this kind of response and it's going to do well in the algorithm. Now, I think some of us, I don't know, Steve probably doesn't engage with the algorithm at all. But there are things, and I know that Jennifer Brooks, and I'm actually going to mention her again. She's a booktuber that passed away back in January. She was saying that there are some videos that she thinks that the algorithm might like, but then there are videos that she is just gonna do for herself. And actually, you don't really know which ones are gonna take off, honestly. Even if you do a video that you think may be engineered to perform well in the algorithm, sometimes it flops. And the thing is don't worship it. So I do videos that I think might do pretty well, might serve a wider audience. And then I also do videos that aren't going to do well. But in all of that, I'm experimenting and I'm not worshiping the algorithm. I'm not making, you can tell the channels that have the clickbaity titles, the clickbaity thumbnails, and they only do that. Now, of course, it's so fun to do that every once in a while. The greatest books of all time. I mean, it's fun to engage a little bit, but also there's a sense, there's the flip when it's turned on its head and there's a channel that only worships the algorithm, that only does videos that are big and splashy and with these really intense titles and with these really intense themes, and it's all engineered to do, or to try and do really well with the algorithm. And I'm like, there's something kind of about that. It's kind of, I think it's the equivalent to Steve Donahue's like Thou Shalt Not Network. For me, it's like, you are only making videos that you think will make your channel grow, and growth is the only thing you want. And to me, that is worshiping the algorithm. And so I'm like, thou shalt not worship the algorithm. Another thou shalt not, which I feel very passionate about. Thou shalt not be a killjoy. Don't be a killjoy, y'all. Like, if a video doesn't do well in the algorithm and you are worshiping the algorithm, and then the next video you make, or the next 5 videos you make, you're like, I spent so many hours on this video and it only got 200 views, and that I really thought it was going to do so much better because I spent 50 hours on it. And I'm like, y'all, like, just because you spent 50 hours on something doesn't mean that it's going to give you like 50,000 views. Really, it needs to, like, the work that you put into your videos has to be separate from how it performs. You have to do the work because you love it, you love doing it. You know, whether it's like sinking a bunch of time into making a list of books that are very niche or that are really great to you, whether it's that, or whether it's like sinking a ton of time into editing and scripting and making that end of it all perfect, and making like the perfect video. If you make the perfect video, it doesn't mean that it's going to perform really well. And then also on top of that, don't come back to your audience and be like, oh, things didn't go well. Or just also, if the tone of your channel is always complaining, like, I can't even with that. Now there's a difference between being like humorously self-deprecating and just coming on and having a tone of being a complainer. To me, that's a killjoy. There's a lot of ways to be a killjoy, but being mean to other booktubers, but then that also breaks the commandment of not being nice. You're breaking the commandment of being nice by not being nice. There's a lot of ways to be a killjoy, and it's like, I cannot. I like literally cannot with that. And so like, I don't know, just, you take stock of your own self, think about ways that one can be a killjoy, and try and not bring that to the channel. It's so apparent. Again, it's also like, if you've turned this into a job and now it's work and you're making it feel like hanging out on this platform is work, I cannot. I'm also a teacher at the end of a school year, so I'm kind of, my patience has been, my well of patience is at kind of its bottom right now. And so there are like a lot of things that I'm just like, please don't do that. And yeah, being a complainer, a killjoy, bringing just things about the self to the platform that are just a downer attitude, it's just no. No. All right, I have a couple more to go. I have to see where I'm at. All right, I have 2 left, and I think they are my 2 best. The first one is, remember booktubers of the past and be open to new friendships. So when I started, and I've seen this a lot when people start, you almost form like a little cohort. People that started like within a year of each other and your channels are about the same size, you kind of form this little group. I know that definitely I am friends with people that started around the same time as me, and more people too. But when you have been on BookTube for even a year, even 1 year, y'all, you see people leave. I'm not going to get emotional, but people have passed away. Jennifer Brooks was one of them. She was a wonderful booktuber. She passed away in January. There's also Janielle from Too Fond of Books who passed away. Pax at the channel, Pax Panic. People pass away who were involved in this community, and it is heart-wrenching. And it's hit me, differently at different times. But to remember, but also I will say, get your words together, Shelley. people leave. They realize it's not for them. This booktube thing is not for them. They get busy, things change in their lives, they lose the space to create videos. People leave. I've had even commenters who don't comment on my videos anymore, commenters who have been here but then end up, you know, they disconnect from the booktube space. And like that I think hurts the most. Like, not, I don't take it personally, but I just miss them. I miss their friendly comments, or people who have been on the space and aren't on the space anymore, or are on the space for less than they used to be. It just changes. The sea of booktube is constantly changing, and people come and people go. My camera battery died like in the middle of my little chit chat about this commandment. But I think what I was trying to say is that the space changes, and to be mindful of that and to be aware of a changing and evolving booktube, and to be open to the changing and evolving booktube. Booktube is constantly changing. New people are joining the space constantly, and also people are leaving constantly. And, you know, to be mindful of that, and to be open to making new friendships, and to be willing to connect to others, because there are booktubers who it seems like they had their friends when they first started, they connected, and as people have gone away, they're not willing to make new friends on the space. And there's something kind of sad about that. I'm always trying to like grow and evolve, and be willing to make new friendships as I go along. And I think that that's really, really important. And then finally, my final commandment is actually echoing that of our original Old Testament commandments, and that it is, thou shalt not covet. Thou shalt not covet another booktuber's personality. Thou shalt not covet another booktuber's subscriber numbers. Thou shalt not covet another booktuber's views. Thou shalt not covet another booktuber's editing style. Thou shalt not covet another booktuber's amount of videos they put up, or upload schedule, amount of videos they put up a week. Thou shalt not covet. Thou shalt not covet. Because you see it in this sort of weird, not weird, it's not weird, it's a commandment because we are all prone to doing it, you know, to coveting. But thou shalt not covet, I think it's just so easy to let it creep in, and just like in the Old Testament, it was something that you have to be aware of. All of a sudden, you know, you're just starting to notice that, you know, channels are growing, and to be happy for their growth, rather than taking it personally, and all of a sudden being, you know, tying all of these numbers up with your self-worth. It starts to become incredibly apparent when people are just talking about how their channel was not growing like someone else's, and how their channel is all you know, they're doing this comparison, this covetous thing to other channels, and it's a really unbecoming quality in a human being, which is probably why it's one of the 10 Commandments. And it's also one of my 10 Commandments of Booktube. Yeah, thou shalt, just don't covet, y'all. Thou shalt not covet people's haul videos. Thou shalt not covet people's book shopping trips. All of that stuff. It's so human of us to go down that route. And you know, don't be ashamed of being human, but also, like, you know, you can be mindful. I can be mindful, and instead of, you know, sitting in this sort of sea of jealousy and covetousness, instead, you know, just be like, you know, great for you. I love that for you. You know, and not to just sit in that sort of icky space of covetousness. But anyways, that's it for me. I think the best antidote to any kind of covetousness is gratitude, and that's the note that I will end on. And so I will just say, you know, thank you all for being here. Booktube has really been an incredible place for me, mostly, if not solely, because of the connections I have made. and it's just been wonderful. So thank you so much. Yeah, I am just so grateful for y'all. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Steve Donahue, for giving me something to chew on for days and days and days, or at least 48 hours. I really appreciate that, and I hope to see you all in my next one. Bye.